Hi, everybody. This is Nancy O'Neill with DBHG. We are going to go ahead and get started. Brandi is not in the studio with us right now. She may come on later. So, we're going to watch one of our previously aired episodes with Brandi. Feel free to chat if you have any questions about the episode. I also want to let everybody know I have an upcoming um, event at 26700 Lassa Road. It is my commercial real estate red carpet or ribbon cutting ceremony. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. It will be held July 5th from 6 to 7 p.m. Go to our website at www.dbhg.org for more info. And here is Brandi coming right up.
Detroit Business Hub Group Director Nancy O'Neill works with her team of experts. Listen to conversations with business professionals to discover the latest business innovations, insights, and trends. Find out what's hot and what's not in today's business market. Detroit Business Hub.
One second. Usually I have this set up ahead of time, so technical difficulties, bear with me, please. I literally just had this file open. This is what happens when you show things live. Okay, so here we are. Stand by, please.
All right.
Yeah, we're on.
Detroit Business Hub Group Director Nancy O'Neill works with her team of experts. Listen to conversations with business professionals to discover the latest business innovations, insights, and trends. Find out what's hot and what's not in today's business market.
Hi, Brandi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us on the show today. It looks like you are working right now.
Okay.
Well, Brandi is on the move. She is one of the directors of the D-Loft Studios. She's also vice president of Detroit Business Hub Group. So, Brandi, with that, I will let you go ahead and further introduce yourself.
So I am the total name of our company is the D-Loft umbrella. And under the umbrella, we have 7 locations. One of them we're in co-partnership with one of the founders who initially started the D-Loft with me, Coralie Hawkins. And we have 7 locations. Ergo why I'm always in the car.
Okay.
Because they all demand you to be able to do something different. So right now, me and Cora are currently renovating 2 of our new locations we just got about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I have the D-Loft Clubhouse, which is in Oak Park, and then Cora is doing the Galleria in Canton. So these are our last 2 locations for Michigan. And then once we finish, we'll be able to move forward with our another dream that we're putting into fruition, which is Atlanta.
Oh, nice. So explain to us, what is D-Loft? Tell me what the formal name is. Burlow.
So The D-Loft itself is a total brand. Under the brand itself, we have the umbrella, which is the overall umbrella of the company. So the umbrella owns pretty much everything, and then each site location is its own entity. The umbrella is responsible for like the back office administrative stuff, the call center. So you dial one telephone number and you can do anything from place an order for a pickup at the cafe, or you can book a venue of your choice. And then we connect you with some of our preferred vendors as well, who do all of our decor nature. So we never have those moments.
I see.
7 days a week.
Okay, and this is your baby, correct? Correct. This is what you birthed as a business.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this is I started out like as a business consultant. Then you go into the coaching math situation, then you become a business facilitator or educator, and then but this is something I've always done. I pride myself on having connections, and the only way you can build a connection is by having one foundation for people to connect to, and then that foundation will help manifest into things like what we're doing right now. So basically our tagline for the D-Loft as a whole are spaces that inspire you. So basically once you walk into a space, each space should give you a conceptual idea of what you want to accomplish. So like you're right now in the space, you're doing a podcast. When in the clubhouse, we actually built an entire podcast room. So we have like a couch, a table, this entire podcast setup. So it just makes it easier. So you can just come in the clubhouse, but let's say once the podcast is over, you want to get together with a few friends, or whatever case, you can just slide on down to the next room and go to the VIP suite, turn on the TV, get a bartender and have a good time. Or if you want to make it big, just go into the middle of the room and it's an entire event space. It's definitely a different blessing to be here. Definitely a different blessing.
Okay, wonderful. Well, tell us about our upcoming event on June 26th. We're going to be working with one of your caterers. So walk us through that process, as this is my first time working with you in that capacity. So how exactly is that going to work? I know this is our first rough run conversation, but we really haven't had
no worries. So what you guys picked out was a box lunch. So a box lunch for us is one of our infamous sandwich wraps. So we have you get to choose what you want. We can do it simple and just do a turkey type of scenario. Or you can do like the ones we make currently in house are like the fajita wrap. We have a Mexican wrap. So we have all kinds of things.
Okay.
We even can make a burrito, but that I don't know, chips and salsa and a bunch of people might be a little different. The fajita wrap is one of our biggest sellers though. So it comes with green peppers, red peppers, and yellow peppers, sauteed with chicken or shrimp, depending on the person's, preference.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes, of course, with a bag of plain chips, nice fresh baked cookie, which is something that Chef prides himself on. We do not sell pre-made cookies. All of our cookies have to be freshly baked. So it takes about 20 minutes or so from the cooking to the cooling to the presentation stage of it. Definitely one of my favorites. And of course, you get one of our custom lemonades from the other company called Lemon Heads. So it'll be a 16-ounce lemon drink, lemonade, Kool-Aid, and pretty much that's your box lunch. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the fruit bowl. That's very important. So then you have a fruit bowl from Fantastic Fruits. So basically that entire meal was serviced to you by 4 different chefs.
Yeah, that's great. And tell us how exactly that works, because I've seen this set up now. Like they have a few of these in Tampa, where you go into like one large eating area, kind of like where the mall you have the food court, but there's different types of restaurants set up, and they just have like a limited menu, and you pick whatever you want off the menu. So you could actually like go to 2 or 3 of these, or just get an appetizer from one, get a meal from the other. Is that kind of how like D-Loft is set up as well? Because I actually haven't been on a tour of the facility yet.
So yes and no, because each chef has their own lane. So like the person who does Fantastic Fruits, that's the actual owner. Literally all she does is fruit carvings, fruit roasted veggies, like that is her entire lane. So any client he's on no crosses that, and then just like our baked goods. So we have one distinctive chef.
Okay. Well, that was all great, but since we now have Brandi here, I actually would prefer to speak with her live than watch her video. Hi, Brandi. How are you?
Hello, how are you? How are you?
Good. I'm glad you were able to join us today. So that
Yeah, I
video,
had a couple of technical difficulties. I do apologize.
no, it's totally okay. That's why it's always good to have a rerun or a previous podcast ready to go. And I wasn't quite prepared, so I was like a minute behind myself. But anyway, let's catch up because the podcast that we were just looking at is about a year old. And I know that you've been doing some new and marvelous things since then. So fill us in, update us on some new things that you've been doing and
So
some things you have coming up.
so currently right now I'm in Atlanta and I'm getting ready to do a speaking engagement that is this Saturday from 2 to 8 with a group
Oh,
of other professional colleagues from both Atlanta and Detroit. But to backtrack just a little bit to answer your question, we are doing some more crazy things here in the D Loft. We have just established a commercial kitchen. So we are
okay.
currently in, I guess you say, renovation status. We have about 1 week before we try to do a soft opening to the public,
Now,
to
this
be
is
able
in
to bring
Atlanta
in
or
some
Detroit?
in Detroit.
Okay, because I know that you had said in the former podcast that was your dream to expand into Atlanta. So is that still a work?
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time in Atlanta, so I get to see it. But now I'm back as I was before in the past. I'm back again. So I guess maybe the world is gonna bring me back to coming here once a month. I don't know yet. I'm just gonna take every moment as it is. But about 2 or 3 years ago, I used to come here every month, so I'm very used to being here.
Okay. Now,
Which
what
makes
keeps
it
bringing
makes
you
it
back?
easier.
Okay, I apologize for the interruption.
Mhm.
What keeps bringing you back to Atlanta? I don't know if
My
you know.
clients,
Oh,
I
really?
got clients here. Yeah. I got clients here, and every time I say I'm not coming, they be like, "I got a plane ticket. You need to be on your way."
Yeah, I grew up in Atlanta. I wasn't born there, but I did spend a lot of my childhood there, and I love Atlanta too. Hot Atlanta. Um, I tried it when I was in Florida. I was down there. I probably went 2 or 3 times while I was in Florida, but Atlanta is a lot of fun. There's a lot of business connections. I can't believe how many people go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. And then they
Hmm.
say Detroit is not the South. I'm like, it's the South to me because everybody up here is from somewhere in the South. So at least you go, all you got to do is go back like 1 to 2 or 3 generations, and somebody normally usually came up here
Indeed,
in the South.
indeed. And my family's from Mississippi, so I'm very much used to the South. People be saying it's hot. I be like, y'all don't know what hot really is. You have no idea.
Right. Hot to us is like 90 degrees with no air conditioning. That's hot.
Right. They talking about it's hot. They got air conditioning. We like,
Right,
yeah, we just
exactly. I'm
no.
like, you got it made.
Indeed.
So we'll have to catch up on a personal note later. You can tell me all the fun stuff going on in Atlanta. I see you out there enjoying their probably lovely weather.
Well,
So,
yeah, I just well, the only thing is signals. Making sure you got
oh,
a signal.
oh yeah. I don't
I am on the Wi-Fi, but I still need to make sure I got a signal.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you were talking about driving because I know
Oh
in
no,
town they have all of the one-way streets.
no.
Because
So one thing I will say that the pandemic has taught me a lot of is Instacarting and Door Dashing and Grubhub.
right.
So
Yeah,
if I don't have to get no car, I'm not about to do it.
yeah. I don't really want to. It's just too congested. If you're not
Hmm.
used to that kind of traffic every single day, that's not something that I want to be in. If
Indeed.
I'm going down there for vacation or R&R, I don't want to be stuck in traffic or with all the one-way streets. To me, it's very easy to get turned around if you're not
Hmm.
familiar.
Hmm.
So that's something that we have to look for. But tell us, so the commercial kitchen in Detroit, what else new do you have going on? Not in Detroit.
Right now that's our biggest thing, and then we're just trying to keep everything moving and grooving with what we have on a just a regular level. So we got our spaces in Hamtramck. We got the cafe, we got the food truck, and then the commercial kitchen is a part. It's an extension of the food truck and cafe for other food entrepreneurs. So at this point, the food lane of our business is pretty much sealed up, and we're kind of like we're once we finish this and wrap it up and get it open to the public, like public, then we'll be good to go. So the food lane will be totally fulfilled. We do have another truck that we're working on, but again, that's still a part of the same scenario,
Right.
just to be able to help people get more exposure. So that truck that we're building out right now will pretty much be used as a rental option for people.
Okay.
Um, but and then our event spaces we have. So we have everything now in Hamtramck, which is better for us. Everything is connected, which allows our staff that we have that lives in Hamtramck to be able to not have to worry about commuting to other parts of the city.
Hmm.
They, most of them walk to work, so they don't have to worry about rides and things of that nature. So that's pretty good.
Right.
Um, and then we just added on a food truck manager and an administrator to help us with orchestrating a lot of these large scale events that we've had coming up and just being booked and busy and trying to stay busy.
Sounds
Just
good.
trying to stay busy.
You have no problem doing that because I'm like, I thought I was busy till you told me what your schedule was. I said, my goodness, I said she must not get any sleep at night. I don't really know how you get all of this.
My phone starts at 6 a.m. I do put blocks of, I guess you call it boundaries on my time. So even though I wake up at 6 and I get notifications starting at 6, but I try to stay focused on not starting to respond to people until about 8:30, just to give myself time to like read over what they're asking, do a little research, make sure that when I respond back, because my email days are usually about 4 hours a day
Okay.
is what I spend on email, which is not average for a lot of people. I mean,
Oh
that's
no,
a heavy load.
that's way over the top. Yeah, that's half a day, a half a work
Yeah.
day.
And then another thing is because if I get on the road and I can't get to emails, it puts me 4 hours behind. So that's
Exactly.
why I try to stay prominent to being in a secure location so I can stay on my email so it doesn't go days behind
Right.
because people don't have that kind of time. I have reduced personally. I've reduced probably my verbal communication. So like I don't do a lot of phone calls. I hate text messaging. I realized that as of this year. So I make people email me or they inbox me because that acts as a form of email where I
Yeah.
can find out. I can do searches and things of that nature, so I can resurface the conversation. Versus the
Right.
text message, you can't do that. It's like you
You just
scrolling for
scrolling.
days.
Yep. Yep. I got you. That totally makes sense.
Yeah. So I removed a lot of things that become hindrances, and then
Mhm.
I made sure that I've added some things that are beneficial, which helps me cut that. But during this season right now, all the way up until probably September, it's going to be heavy
Right.
because we have a lot of events going on. So I don't go to sleep as early as I would like to, but I still am trying to get to sleep by at least 10:30, 11.
That sounds good. That's already a long day because I know you pretty much work from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
And I get up
But
around the same time, but I'm not really like fully functional.
oh yeah, no. I wake up with business. I go to sleep with business. I have to force myself not to think about business. But
Yeah.
it's very hard. Sometimes some things be on your brain and it just be there. You wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. So, I still sleep with the notepad and the pen by the bed or the phone, just to be able to
Yeah.
take my notes and keeping myself together.
Okay, now tell me, you said your central location's in Hamtramck. Now, do you still have the location on Woodward?
No. So the Woodward location is only used for specialty events, very, very special events, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a consistent use. So it's not available to the public. So
Okay,
you have to be either a previous client to have used that facility, or you have to be, and I hate to say it this way, a celebrity looking for a small intimate affair.
I see.
Yeah,
Um,
because that location is very private.
and you had another location from the last podcast, which I can't believe it's been like a year. Time is just
hmm
flying.
The
Um,
one on 8 Mile in Livernois. Yeah,
yeah,
we no longer are there. We had some discrepancies with the property owner,
I
and it
see.
was some things that we had already put close to 50,000 into that property, and commercial upgrades and things. And then there were some more things that needed to be handled, and he wanted us to pay for them. And I just I
You'd
couldn't
already
commit.
invested enough. Yeah.
Yeah. At some point, you got to know your boundary.
Well, I hate the fact that you had already invested all that money. I mean, I hope you get a return on that or you got some of your money back.
We got a semi return, but at the end of the day, you know, after talking with a few people, it's not a bad walk away because
Mhm.
we know something greater is going to come. And then the other thing is, by walking away from there, that opened up an opportunity for the commercial kitchen, which is probably one of the more bigger passions that we had as a unit. So
Okay.
it didn't hinder us. It actually grew us.
Because the Livernois and 8 Mile location, that was just primarily for events. That was not really for the food aspect of your
It
business.
was not. You are correct. It was not.
Okay. So tell me more about the food truck. Where does your food truck service? Like what type of food do
So
you?
we service a 59-minute radius from the location of the cafe.
Okay.
So we go 59 minutes north, south, east, or west. We have been again saved by the graces of God. So we don't really post up in certain areas. We are booked for communities, events, things of that nature. So our calendar, thankfully, is very full with stuff going on all throughout the city, from Commerce Township down to Detroit, back up to Howell, Auburn Hills, where pretty much everywhere. Like right now, we got one truck that's in where's she at? Commerce Township, and then we got another one that's in Macomb Township.
Okay. And
Cause
how? Mhm,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, tell me what the process is. If I say, hey, I'm having an event, which I'm having my the ribbon cutting ceremony on July 5th. I would like to use your food truck. Where do I go from there? Do I need to pull a permit? What do I need to do?
So you normally would go to our website first and fill out the contact form, and
Okay.
then from the contact form, we would send you a proposal. In that proposal, you would identify some key questions: how many people, what type of menu, blah blah blah. And then once you review the proposal submission, you have to approve it. And then from that point, that tells you whether or not from that submission we'll know what we need to do. But when you book the food truck and you're paying for it, you automatically have the true opportunity of pretty much get hiring a catering company like you would it for your house. So a lot of times you don't need a permit because we're not on public ground.
I
We're on
got
private property.
right, right. Okay, so does the person who is hosting the event, is this something that they typically pay for, or does it work like a cash bar where you just show up and pay?
Both. It just depends on the size of the event.
Okay. So a smaller event, then more than likely the host or hostess would pay for the food. And
Right.
the larger the event, open
It'd
to
be
the
what we call self pay.
private party. Okay.
Self pay.
Okay. So maybe they just pay to rent the truck or use of the truck, and then whatever people want to order, they order. Is that how that
Yep.
works? Okay.
And we have a predetermined menu for them as well.
Okay, sounds good. So tell me, what are some of the yummy delights you can order on the truck?
So we got everything from loaded fries to Phillies. We do a
Oh,
whole Mexican menu. We got burgers. Last year we did a wedding.
oh wow.
So we did shrimp cocktails, sliders, hibachi rice bowls.
Oh, this sounds good.
Yeah, chicken and waffles. We do all because we're blessed enough to have actual chefs that are
Right.
attached to us. Not just the not This is nothing against a line cook at all. But when you have a chef who has the same like educational components, they bring a different level to the events,
Hmm.
and to people's requests. So you have more creativity with the menu. Sometimes if you just hire a line cook or you're a home cook with a good skill, sometimes you can't always be out the box. And that's what something that we didn't want to do with the cafe or the food truck. We wanted to be able to provide the same services that if you were calling us at the restaurant, that we would be able to put on the truck. So we have Culinarian's Corner, Chef Clinton Moore, who actually retired from catering, and now he's our actual executive director of food, for the truck, the cafe, and for our commercial kitchen. So he oversees that. He helps people in the kitchen space bring their food or their food idea to, to storefront type of concepts, teaching them how to make their stuff shelf stable. He does a lot. He's a very busy man, but he does a lot in trying to help people grow their business. And then from our side, our food truck manager, she manages pretty much the menu and our surplus, our inventory. And then our administrator has to handle all of our billing and all of our bookings and all the back end stuff. So where this year we're trying to get it more stabilized so that it becomes like a well-oiled machine. So that
Right.
next year when we go out there, it's just going to be easy peasy, nice and breezy.
Okay. Sounds good. In my case, so you have catered one of our events before. The food was excellent. So thank you for doing
Thank
it.
you.
Very reasonably priced.
Thank
Um,
you.
so one off, we can probably talk, after the podcast. But for my ribbon cutting ceremony on July 5th, I wanted to maybe try the fajitas. I don't know if that's a higher price point, so we can talk about it. But maybe try those versus the chicken sandwiches that we had, the chicken wraps we had before.
Yeah, fajitas are a little bit more expensive because they come straight off the grill. So, chicken, peppers, onions, things of that nature. So when people book our food truck, they do have to pay a truck fee. And
Okay.
the truck fee normally for our regular clientele is $375, and then for our new clientele it starts off at $425, and that's only because depending on how many, if this is their first time booking, we have to make sure that we're covering everybody plus a little something. But
Yeah.
for clients who are repeat clients, which we have a lot of those, we do reduce the fee down so that we can accommodate them and so they can maximize their budget on their end. I mean, even though I know it's not a lot of money, it's still a lot of money. $75 to some is not a lot, but it does make a difference.
Right. And it's like you get what you pay for. So you want
Yeah.
to pay. Sometimes quality will lead quantity because, like, in my case with the business event, you're having the event to gain potential prospects and customers. And clients, so you can't really afford to be cheap. I mean, for every event you have, pizza is not always appropriate.
That is correct. That is
People are
definitely
piecing
correct.
out. Yeah,
Pizza or meatballs?
pizza or what?
Meatballs.
Oh yeah. I don't even do the meatballs thing.
We don't even. Nobody is allowed to cook meatballs and serve them to any of our customers.
Yeah, that gets old, like the cheese and the fruit plate. Sometimes that gets old. And who are some of the clients that you cater to? Because I know you do a lot of your marketing on social media. You're like a social media guru, and you get on me about having more of a social media presence. So,
We got we do we have our clientele is very diverse, but as of late we have Penske, Henry Ford, uh shoot, a bunch of schools,
Right.
lots of schools. So
Yeah.
schools are something different. Schools are very different. But we got a ton of. I think we did so far. We've done 15 different schools already, and
That's
it ain't even into the school year yet.
Yeah, you're right. That's great, Brandi. I didn't even think about you for schools, but the food truck is an excellent idea for schools. And then everything's paid for. You don't have to worry about them, people that, doing individual transactions and all that because they usually
Mm-hmm.
pay for everything ahead of time. So that's wonderful. So you had just mentioned the wedding, and I was shocked because I was like, I never would have thought of a food. I never would have thought of a food truck at a wedding, but that must have been. Was it like an outdoor venue or something? Because
It
that was.
was at a park downtown.
Okay, that is a really interesting idea, and that's really thinking out the box because when we talked about having like appropriate food and venues depending on the type of event, you would always think that a wedding is going to be a 3 to 5 course meal, and you hear these stories about these couples that spend thousands and thousands of dollars on the reception, and then I talk to some of my friends, and it's like, why spend $1,000 or more on a dress that you're only gonna wear one time? Even if you get married twice, you're not gonna wear the same dress again. So I was like, that doesn't
This
make
is
sense.
very true.
you spending thousands of dollars on a reception where people sit up there and talk about you, and they're asking how long it's gonna last. So I'm like, I'd rather use that money on my honeymoon or on use it on a honeymoon or a down payment on a house. That's kind of how I feel.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Yeah, so that is like that's really thinking out the box. I would not have thought about having a food truck at a wedding, but that must have been so
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, we did between servers and all kind of stuff, and they had like 10 different appetizers, so it was really fun. It was not
Yeah.
a dull moment.
Yeah, and that's where the venue, the type of event that you have, that really matches what you saying it was at a park. That makes
Yeah.
total sense because the venue and location matches the food that was served. So that makes a lot of sense. So you talked about going to your website. How can people contact you if they want to get a hold of you for catering or for leasing out space? And tell us a little bit more about that side of the business, because we spent a lot of time on the food, which is a lot of people's favorite subject, especially now with like both of us being on a diet, and it's like I go to the gym and like they'll have, how they have like the different monitors at the front of the gym. And like they always have on a Food Network station. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. I'm like, I'm trying to work out food I ate earlier. I don't really want to watch you cooking food or preparing food or eating food right now. So let's
So with the food side of life, you just have to think about it being a creative output. So
okay.
even though you're looking at those things, you have to think about what you can do. So like as you said, I'm on a diet, yes, but I still eat the same foods that I ate before I went on a diet. I just reduce the amount of food that I take in. And
That's
then
what
after a certain time, I don't eat anymore.
yeah, that's like a huge part of it too. Yeah, I know for me, like so I work out at least twice a week. So I'm on my way to the gym when I leave here. And I use Weight Watchers for the meal proportion and food intake control. And so now I start putting the points in. I find out how much points a certain food item is before I eat it. So I was like, chocolate cake, no, yellow cake. This is what I just put in today. Yellow cake with chocolate fudge frosting was like 29 points. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be eating that today.
Yeah,
So
so to take what you just said as a point of reference, it would be instead of you could still eat it, but you could only eat a quarter of it.
right. And to me, I'm like, what's the point? I mean, I could not, I guess that's part of like self-control, because if I ate a quarter of a piece of cake, I'd have to give the rest to somebody else. So
Nope. So what I've learned from the trainers that I've been working with and things of that nature, you don't necessarily have to deprive yourself of what you're looking for. You just have to know how to do it in moderation. So
right.
like what they taught me to do was eating on a smaller plate, and then understanding once you get that first notion of being full, you have
Right.
to know to say stop.
Yeah. Just eating until
So the clearing the plate is what they call the indulgent action.
right.
And the only time that you should do that is depending on what you ate for the day. So it's based upon how many calories you take in. So in the
Right.
morning, if I know that I want to eat very heavy foods, then I'll eat a very light day, but I'll snack like every hour, like a couple cheese and crackers, some fruit, strawberries, things of that nature. So then when I get to my meal portion, I can indulge and I can feel comfortable and not feel overdoing it. And
Right.
then if I know that I'm going to, or if I want a heavier breakfast, then I do the vice versa. So I'll eat the breakfast, but then I'll eat light throughout the rest of the day. So it's just the moderation and understanding your ups and downs is the biggest component of being able to know that you're going to be successful in your journey versus saying that I'm going to just remove all these things away from me. And
Right.
then the other thing they taught me was every day you should walk 15 minutes no matter whatever you do.
Mm.
So no matter whatever's going on in your life, you just take 15 minutes and you just go for a walk. That
Right.
15 minutes is just the same amount of you doing cardio for 45 or
You're
you
right.
going to the gym for an hour. And if you do that 7 days a week, then that'll help continuously move everything along your what do you call that, your metabolism,
Yeah.
everything, because it's in constant action motion. So I did a lot of research just to learn what I could and could not do, because I knew that I wouldn't stay focused on a diet,
Right.
but I knew I needed to diet,
Yeah, it's
but
basically
I
just
didn't want to take
lifestyle.
myself away from everything.
Yeah. So like you said, in the terms of the bigger portions, like I can't even really eat a candy bar at this point. I eat protein bars, which have, chocolate. And so, but the points are less, so I don't feel like I'm really cheating. I'd rather eat like a protein bar, which is like 7 points, versus a candy bar, which is like 20 something points. But if I eat like, if I do want a candy bar because I love chocolate, I'll eat like a little mini Snickers or a mini
Hmm.
instead of eating an entire candy bar. So I have lost between 15 and 17 pounds, and I say between because that 2 pounds, depending on what day I get on the scale, comes back. So I'm
Hmm.
looking at working on losing another 15 pounds. And what I found with Weight Watchers, which to me was starting to get really frustrating, is I was continuously going over my points every week. So I started eating their 0 point foods because I know I can eat as much of it as I want without cheating. So without going over. So I would eat, so like for breakfast, now instead of me eating oatmeal or cold cereal, I'm eating hard boiled eggs. And so I made those types of adjustments. And I found like some of the food that's 0 calories, like avocado, salad, that I actually enjoy eating. I just eat more of that and like not focus on what I'm not eating that I like. And then to help with the sugar cravings, I'm just been eating more fruit instead of always going for, the candy. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so that helped. That does help some.
Yeah, it definitely is. My son is calling me at the same
I
time.
see, I
Uh,
heard mine, so
yeah. But yeah, definitely. I mean, the smaller portions and the smaller candy bars, but also making sure that you don't indulge in those on a daily basis. You do
right,
that
like a treat.
once or twice a week. But and then in the summertime is actually the better time to go on a diet because there's so much fruit, so many choices, so many options. It just makes life a little bit easier.
And I feel like we're more active in the summer. I
Hmm.
actually kind of hibernate in the winter, but in the summer I'm out more. I'm more active. I seem to walk more, and I usually eat less in the summer. So that's usually when I lose weight is the summer, and I usually gain back a little bit in the winter, especially around the holidays, because I'm really eating the foods that are like heavy and fat. You know how we cook? We put a lot of, like, if we're eating soul food, we put a lot of fat
Butters and creams and all that.
creams, the sugars, and that's when we eat very rich food during the holidays. It seems so.
We
That's when
do.
I get on the pounds. I mean,
We
you can
definitely
in
do.
the summer too, but I'm not a huge fan of potato salad. So I usually eat. If I eat the potato salad, I'm going to eat it with vinegar and salt and vinegar, or some kind of an Italian dressing versus the mayonnaise. I just
Mayonnaise,
in my head
mustard.
like, just take. Well, mustard really virtually has no calories. I just say take the mayonnaise off. Almost anytime I order a sandwich at a fast food restaurant, I'm like, no mayonnaise, because it's super fattening, and to me, it didn't even taste that good.
Mm.
So
You
yeah.
just haven't had our garlic parmesan sauce. When you have that, you'll say something different.
Well, yeah, I got to try that then. So back to the pivot on the leasing space. Tell us I know at one point you were doing like a podcast studio. What are some of the other things that people would use that they would need like event space for? And what are some of the reasons they
You
would?
got book signings, baby showers, galas, conferences, classes.
Hmm,
We do a lot of breakout sessions. We do cooking classes.
okay.
So it just depends on the individual. But as we say in our tagline, a space that inspires you. So when
Yeah.
people usually come in, they look at what they have unbeknownst possibilities, and then they just kind of gotta go through the flow. And once they'll call us a couple of times to get some ideas, but overall they have a clear conception once they come in and say, I can do this, I could do that. It's a lot of variation. So it
Right.
doesn't we didn't want cookie cutter. We don't like cookie cutter. We want to give you a blank space, a canvas, so to speak, and let you kind of do your thing.
Okay, so tell me, what are some of the benefits from hosting an event at a venue or commercial space versus just hosting it at your home?
Well, a lot of people don't want their privacy taken away.
Mhm.
So having, going to a venue allows you to still do what you want to do. Plus, sometimes your home is not the best place for the type of event that you're trying to orchestrate. So it
Right.
just depends on what you're trying to do first and foremost. There are some homes that are very grand that will offer some great benefit to an actual event itself, and then
Mhm.
there are some that are not.
That-
Like one of the properties we had a huge backyard, so a lady wanting to do a backyard brunch
mhm.
was it where she can put 60 people outside because at her home she could only do 20. Her yard was not that big. So,
Right.
it just depends on that's why we say spaces that inspire you. It's because everybody has their own predetermined idea. And then our job is to make sure that the space that we direct you to is beneficial to what your expectations are for your end result.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds good. And then what is the price range for the venue?
So we start at 595 and we go all the way up until about 2000. Just depends on the length of time and the type of event that you're trying to orchestrate.
So you had mentioned the wedding. Do you all host weddings as well?
Oh, yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did last year we did about 5 weddings. This year I think we are at our third wedding already, and that's without me looking at what's happening in the months ahead. But we've already done 3 before the summer's even out. We just did one last week,
Yeah,
actually.
the summer has started. I mean, well, it kicks off of, I guess, officially on Memorial Day, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, most of us don't think of summer till like June, mid June, end of June. Okay, so people that when you hear the price amount, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. So, does that fee for the venue does that include food as well, or is that an additional
Oh no,
fee?
we no. It's space, tables, and chairs. Depending on the venue, VIP suite or VIP area.
Mhm.
And our VIP areas come with TVs, fireplace, couches. Like we try to give you a good space. We
Yeah.
try our very best to provide substance to the customer.
Now, moving on to the commercial side and you
Hmm.
finding these venues, how are you finding the venues? Like, are you going through a commercial realtor? Do you just find it on your own by driving past to find out what your new venture is going to be? Like, how did you
Both,
find commercial kitchens?
both.
Okay,
Both. Yep. So I research every day.
right.
So and then sometimes opportunities just pop up and you just have to be ready to go. But I also do have people who are on my side who call me and tell me about certain things and places. And
Right.
then, I go investigate. And if it seems like it's a good idea, I talk to the team, we figure out if it makes sense for us financially and physically, and then we go from there.
Okay. So it sounds like you're leasing out quite a bit of the spaces and then you
Hmm.
sublease for events.
Yep.
Are you in the market for possibly purchasing a commercial building?
So what we try to do first and foremost is vet the building. So we do a 3-year or 5-year lease to make sure that it's like proof of concept. Does this location work? Is it beneficial? How many problems have we had? What's
Mhm.
the relationship with the police? What's this? What's that? Identifying all your negatives before
Right.
you go into a situation, because when you buy a building is a lot different than buying a house.
Okay. It's not
Your
something you can
taxes
probably
are
like get
different, your roofing is different, your
out of.
plumbing is different. Like it's just the different world. So you have to have a certain level of commitment when you're buying a commercial property.
Okay.
And when you lease it, there's a shared responsibility versus a full responsibility. Because at your house you could need new plumbing, it might cost you 3,000. At a commercial building, if you need new plumbing, it could cost you 15,000.
Right.
So are you really prepared to pay 15? A roof at a house could be 3, 4,000 depending on the size or whatever the case may be. But at a commercial building, they starting at 10,000. You're not
Right.
going to get a roofer out there on top of your roof. And then you got the flat roof versus this roof versus that.
Right.
Then you got to
Right.
pay for the annual maintenance of the flat roof cracking and then water leaking in and all. So it's a lot of levels to that. So you have to be cognizant before you purchase a building to know what you can handle. Because if you don't have enough surplus cash, you could fall quite quickly because you're trying to own something that you're not prepared to take care of.
I understand. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And commercial is purchasing is a big commitment. Like you said, that's why so many people lease. And the other thing about leasing is that depending on what type of lease you're in, is something you can quickly get out of. You
Mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm.
say this is not a good fit. You only probably committed to a 1 year to 18-month lease anyway, so it's not
Oh
going.
no, no, no. Most of the commercial leases nowadays are at least 3 years minimum.
Oh, they are 3 years. Okay, they're getting
Mm-hmm.
longer then. That's why I said I'm getting back into this world, so I'm learning more about the commitment and the terms of these contracts and things like that. So okay, so so 3 years. I think that helps people really think ahead before they jump into something and do it. Are they going to really be able to make that type of commitment? And you want to know, like, you have to have some alternative sources of revenue. So if say
Mm-hmm.
I get like no sales this week or this month, how am I going to pay the bills to be able to stay here? Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then you had mentioned the one building that that you were leasing that you had put in invested $50,000. Is that common that you spend that much and build out typically with every new building because you are hosting the event?
No, it depends on what the building comes with, and it also depends on what your look is. So everybody has a different look. So some people will accept what it is, and
Right.
some people will want to make the changes. And the uh the positive but also unfortunate side of our business is the fact that we have a certain look that's expected of us.
Hmm.
So we can never hinder ourselves, and that's why the other thing is, even though I did spend what I did spend, um, it never the location never made me feel complete. So that's also something that you have to take into account when you're doing these things. The space may look good from, you know, functionality, physical location, whatever the case may be, but if the space that you go to cannot fulfill you
Right.
and make you feel complete once you're done with your renovations, you have a very large problem. And you'll always be constantly making changes, which will cost you more money because you're
Right.
trying to fulfill something, but sometimes you can't
There.
see what the missing piece is.
Hmm.
So, you know, again, I was upset that I left because of what I put in, but I could honestly go back and say to myself, I wasn't fulfilled. There were still too many missing pieces to
Right.
make myself feel like the space was a finished product. I always kept feeling like it was a work in progress, and that's something that you don't want to have
Right.
on a regular basis.
It's like a house that you're always making updates and upgrades to. And
And then
sometimes,
at some point, you realize this is not my house anymore.
right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I understand that. I actually met a woman when I sold insurance who she owned a brownie business in Royal Oak, downtown Royal Oak, and she was an African American woman, which is, highly unusual. And she had spent $100,000 in build out, and at that time, this is about 5 years ago. Um, the leases were not 3 years. She might have been there 2 years, and then there's no notice or anything. She's just gone. And
Hmm. Hmm.
you're like, well, what happened? So every business owner has a story. And I guess like things didn't work out, but it's like all of this money. And that's why I talk about, owning a building versus leasing, because all of this money that you input, what it's done is it's benefited the the business owner, excuse me, or the property owner. But what are you getting out of it as a person who's
And
there?
then some of the property owners don't even feel like you made a difference. They'll tell you point blank, period, you did not help me.
Yeah, and I don't understand that mentality on either side. So anyway, she went from there to like leasing a commercial kitchen, because really all she needed was a commercial kitchen. She really could have been fully online. So I didn't
Hmm.
really understand why she had a brick and mortar in Royal Oak anyway, but that's a whole nother story. And she was like leasing from a commercial kitchen in like Eastern Market or downtown, Midtown,
Hmm.
so she could cut costs down. So it's like, what happens to all that money that you invest? I mean, some people can rebuild. So I would say the great thing about you, Brandy, is that you are still in business, but other people, it like wipes it out completely. And then, some people are investing, like my mom had invested in commercial property in LA. And it's like wiping out when you have to come up sometimes with large sums of cash, it's wiping out people's retirement, their
Yep.
pension, they're borrowing from their self and their future. And sometimes you cannot recoup that money. And it's like, what do they do at that point? And you're still young enough where you could probably make $50,000, and I don't really know what your revenue streams are, and input and output, but you can probably make that money back, in a quarter to 6 months. Whereas other people, they can't ever really, they don't really
Yep.
back.
Yep.
So I just think that's another aspect that people really need to think about, when they go into business, like the Bible says, count the costs up. That really is relevant when you are in business, because sometimes we make investments that some people unfortunately just never recover from.
This is very true. This is very true.
Yeah, so I think we have to really make use sound judgment. And also, the Bible says there's always wisdom in a multitude of counsel. So like you say, you have to talk to a lot of people. And even though you're the face of your brand, you did say that you work with the team, just like DBHG is a team. And I actually, just to really fully flesh out the concept of DBHG, like we're in our third year, and we're still kind of we've pivoted. We've made one major pivot where we're still kind of defining ourselves. Well, that's been like 2+ years of research now, and working with the team, and having brain sessions at Beans and Cornbread or the Real Estate Collective, wherever we're at, to find out like what are our next moves. And you constantly have to reevaluate yourself, like you said, from a marketing standpoint or profit and loss standpoint, at least once a quarter, would be like, am I on the right track? Are we fulfilling our mission? Are we fulfilling our vision here? Are we doing what we think the organization should be doing? And what direction are we moving in? That's important as well. So all of those factors take place, for a business or for a nonprofit such as ourselves. You still have to kind of think the same way. And your house, the way you run your household and your personal finances, it just spills right into the business. So really, your home, how you run your personal finances, that's a business as well. And so how well
You're
you
home away from home.
exactly how well you do that is usually going to dictate how well you do as a business owner, or even as a career professional, because they all ties in together. So I appreciate what you said about your brand. Like, you basically are saying you're not going to compromise on your brand. However much money you have to take, it costs, or however much it takes, you're going to make sure that your brand is consistent. And I think in business, that's really, really important. So you have
We try our best every day.
I agree. And you've been a mentor for me, and I appreciate you being vice president of DBHG Hub Group, which we didn't really get to talk about a lot about that, but we're going to talk about that one off. And I just think you make the organization so much better. I appreciate you helping to brand DBHG. You're part of our brand as well. So I'm glad that we can continue to collaborate together. And when in the future you have real estate needs, feel free to contact me, because I just recently completed my relicensure, so I'd be happy to help you out as well. Either by hire or counsel, free counsel. So either one of those will help.
Indeed, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. If you are interested in joining DBHG, go to our website at dbhg.org. We would love to see you at my upcoming commercial real estate ribbon cutting ceremony, which is going to be July 5th. And Brandi says she's going to be there. So hopefully
I will be in town. So as long as I'm in town, I can make my way. I might only be there 5 minutes, but
well, if you're there,
I will make my rounds.
It might get you on camera, on video. And I know you're thinking about going to NOLA. So I don't know if the price has gone down anymore with these airline tickets.
They have not. They're even higher.
So I would say save NOLA for the winter time. Don't go in the summer, because you will not miss the snow once it starts snowing in Detroit.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Thank you so much, Brandi. We look
My
forward
pleasure.
to seeing everybody at our July 5th event. And we're going to close out our session today with our new membership video. If you have any questions about DBHG, feel free to contact me. at nancy@dbhg.org. And we look forward to seeing everybody next Tuesday on the podcast at 6 p.m. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Neill, the director of the Detroit Business Hub Group. We were recently featured in Fortune and Entrepreneur magazine. I started DBHG to help real estate and insurance agents compete in today's competitive marketplace. As a former real estate and insurance agent, I did not have a mentor myself who I was accountable to. As a member of DBHG, we network, mentor, and train sales professionals to be competitive in today's marketplace. Our certification and accreditation helps you to level up.
One of the big reasons we became part of this was to be around other people that are involved with the same kind of business we're in, which is real estate. And we don't want people to go through some of the things you went through as far as trying to find financing. We're trying to give those resources to people so they know where to go to get that information and get those lenders and contact information. It's not just finance, but also, like you said, mentorship involved in, anything from finding your appraiser to finding your commercial real estate agent.
I believe with the mentorship program, you can really catapult yourself into a long-term successful career as an insurance agent or real estate agent. As a DBHG member, you receive access to experienced business coaches in your industry and coaching sessions, access to capital, access to DBHG mastermind coaching sessions, access to DBHG podcasts, access to webinars, in-person seminars and workshops, access to our DBHG certification and accreditation programs, and networking opportunities with like-minded professionals in your industry.
There were a lot of things that we learned along the way, and it was a great tool for us to come here. And I think it's beneficial for the people here that don't know about how to go about purchasing and all the resources that are out there to get that information from someone like me that can make their journey easier for them, that they don't have to reinvent the wheel.
So what Detroit Business Hub Group means to me is connecting with other business owners and professionals through a network of peers so we can all learn and grow together. Ideally, we all learn to do business together as well. Networking is so important because we all need to learn to build and grow together. Networking is the lifeblood of any business. After all, if the consumer doesn't know about you, how can they do business with you, right? So somebody told me once before that if your phone isn't ringing, you're not in business. We all need to keep our phones ringing. Mentorship is so important because we all have to learn and try to shorten the learning curve as much as possible so we can gain success faster. Anybody who's experienced success has also experienced failure. So the idea is to try to shorten the learning curve to get to the point of success faster and easier. If we don't need to reinvent the wheel, if there's mistakes that we know other people have made, let's learn from that and try to avoid those same mistakes.
Yes, I'm working with DBHG. We have an event coming up January 22nd, and we are launching an investment club, and I'm excited about it. I just want to give everybody an opportunity to be able to build wealth and leave a legacy to their family as well. So this would be like with the opportunities that I have in front of me, that it'll be profitable, we'll do very well, and everybody will be happy. I'm going to be telling my story, some of my strategies, and things that I did to build my real estate portfolio, and then also launching the Real Estate Investment Club.
A lot of professional networking from a real estate perspective. Today we have a commercial seminar, very informative, met a lot of different professional people in real estate, investment, a lot of investment consultants. So as overall, in my last year, it's been a very positive networking experience.
Networking is the lifeline, the blood of it. This is a relationship-based business. That's the bottom line. You're only good as your name, and people is what they view you as. So,
networking is very important. Relationships are always key with anything that you do. You find out that the recommendations of some people, that a lot of the banks use the same people. A lot of the real estate agents go to the same people, and because they know their work and they trust that they're going to be honest with their evaluations of different things. So
where like-minded people come together for one common goal, and we are heavily, focused on community service. And that's what really the organization is really roots, and what we're rooted on is actually helping the community. That's one of the big things of us getting involved with commercial development, is to try to redevelop our communities. That's what this whole thing is really all about.
Minority business owners today need mentorship, training, and networking opportunities. We provide that with DBHG. Bye, everybody. See you Tuesday.